Nick Watt with that report. A Russian hacking collective called Clop is threatening to reveal the payroll details of 100,000 employees next Wednesday unless a ransom is paid. Those people work for companies including British Airways, Boots and, full disclosure, include many of us here at the BBC as well. This type of attack, which targeted a loophole in the payroll company's software, has in some other cases resulted in the hackers being paid off. Those who did that are understandably coy about it. By contrast, Hackney Council, targeted in a 2020 cybercrime, refused to pay but has had to spend over £12 million trying to put right the damage. Here's Ben.
This week it emerged that a number of large UK employers, including Boots, British Airways and the BBC, have been affected by a major hack of employees' data. Now there's a demand for ransom, believed to be from a cyber crime gang based in Russia. The group posted a notice on the dark web, that site's only accessible via specialised web browsers, telling targeted companies to email them before the 14th of June or their stolen data will be published. The data could then be used by other cyber criminals to target the employees whose data security has been compromised. This follows a global 2017 ransomware attack known as WannaCry, which affected more than 80 NHS trusts and almost 1 in 10 GP practices. Ransomware is a type of malware that blocks a victim's access to their data until a ransom is paid. This latest attack is somewhat different in that the data has already been extracted, but the principle, money for illicitly hacked data, is obviously similar. How common is this kind of cybercrime? Increasingly so is the depressing answer. Here's one estimate for the annual number of ransomware attacks worldwide: almost 500 million last year. Less than 2021, but still well up on years before that. How often do ransoms get paid? A recent survey by the cybersecurity firm Fortinet found that of the organisations that experienced a ransomware incident, 71% said they paid at least a portion of the demanded ransom. In 2021, the world's largest meat processing company, America's JBS Foods, paid the equivalent of $11 million in ransom. Colonial Pipeline, which carries around half of the US East Coast supply of diesel, petrol and jet fuel, did the same that year, paying out $4.4 million after a cyber attack disrupted its operations. Now, it's not illegal to pay cyber hackers, but security authorities strongly discourage it on the ground that it funds criminals and encourages the practice. The NHS didn't pay a ransom in 2017, but the government estimates that the episode ended up imposing a cost of £92 million in lost output and IT costs. A separate survey by another cybersecurity firm called Proofpoint suggested that UK firms were more likely to be prepared to pay to get back data, with 82% of British firms in this category versus the global average of 58%. So why might this be? Well, some analysts argue this is actually a good sign, showing the relative preparedness of UK firms for cyber attacks.
They're well organised, and that, for us, that's a great sign. Right? It does mean that companies are taking the threat of ransomware very, very seriously. They're thinking it through. They're working out how they can deal with it, and they've got the plan ready. So when such an incident like this one crops up, they know what that they have to consider and the risks they're involved in that.
But doesn't that preparedness to pay potentially make UK firms more likely to be targeted in the first place? Is paying hackers really ever a sensible move?
I think everything has to be on the table. Every possibility has to be considered, and it has to be considered thoroughly on its merits. But the reality is most organisations will do everything they can not to have to do that.
Though whether that relative preparedness of UK firms to, if necessary, pay a cyber ransom will provide much comfort to those who get affected by these hacks is very open to question.
Ben Chew there.